Hello and welcome to Heartcast, where we get to see more members of the Green Lantern Corps, the Exo Corps. I'm Humphrey Erm.
And I'm Christian Claus.
Lifeline, give me Exo Manowar, Volume 9, Dead Hand. Alright, Chris, we're kind of like back from what's called Annoying Quantum and Woody and all that stuff, back to like good old Auric. What did you think of this volume?
It was okay.
Oh, I thought you'd be a lot happier about it.
Why?
I don't know, it just felt like a better adventure.
Well, it's just a very typical adventure. I mean, it's nothing special.
I guess you're right. It's thwarted alien invasion. I guess you're right. That's the, third time he's done it to like a separate thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
I suppose you're right. But I'm imagining that you really like the first part of the story, the like flashback.
I mean, there was so little about the flashback. I mean, I don't know. It didn't feel too. It's not what I like about these historical parts. Where they actually go back and kind of explore some stuff that happened there. Or kind of, I mean, basically, it was just an attack on his family. I mean, it could have happened anywhere at any time. It wasn't anything specific to the time. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, cool, yeah, you can kind of make this make sense because this is what they were doing at that time in real history and stuff like that. Like, that's not part of it. That was never part of it.
Yeah, it's not one of those explanations for blank spaces in history or something.
Right.
Or something famous where you get like see it like, so they were part of that. Or
exactly. It's not like with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter where they tie everything together to his life and stuff like that.
All right. No, that's true. I don't know. I just kind of like it because, again, honestly, and I've thought about this a bit before. But then again, we have we have so many ideas and things we wish we could do or that should be done. But a shared universe, like historical, universe, like something about like all these different kind of like historical people or people in part of these like kind of settings, and then from there having like a huge kind of like epic story of like travel and how they meet and stuff like that.
You mean like a movie or something, or what?
You
mean like a movie or something, or what?
Yeah, or comics like this. I mean, I don't know, because I've read a few stuff like that. Again, the Franco-Belgian comics have a lot of these like historical comics. So some more, like accurate and some more silly, like Asterix, for example. But there's just something about, like drama, well not even dramatizing because it's already dramatic, but just something about putting these like historical environments to life and showing like the story side of history. And I just felt like the beginning of here, it just kind of like, oh man, you know what? I'd just like to see like a story about these Visigoths. Just read a series of them, and as much as I love like the sci-fi part of Exo Manowar, I sometimes kind of feel like, oh man, if we could only have like a historical thing stand on its own. Like even like that thing you mentioned, which is clever, the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And again, of course, he didn't actually do any of that stuff, but it's just kind of like, so Abraham Lincoln wasn't interesting enough. Again, I know that's not the point, but it's just kind of like real life is so interesting, like history, that sometimes I just want to see interesting depictions of it. But whatever. So what did you think of all the different exos?
I mean, we didn't really get much of any information about them specifically. We just saw their designs, and yeah, their designs were fine. I mean, they weren't anything. I mean, saying that there weren't anything special is kind of wrong because yeah, they do look different. I mean, especially that mirror exo was kind of weird. Yeah, I thought it would be. But we didn't get much like neither backstory nor anything like that. And it did kind of feel weird how Eric was very easily just like, I'm your king. And they're like, okay. It's just, okay, sure. I mean, maybe yeah. If you, I guess now I finally understood the whole, like when he was explaining that his armor bows to him, not the other way around. And I guess it makes sense that then the other armors would follow him. But still, it was kind of like, I mean, yeah, the designs were interesting. There were all these different types of exo warriors. Um, so yeah, it was interesting. That was kind of a fun part to see them. It would have been nice to kind of get to know them a little bit more. But then again, I'm assuming they don't have much of a personality if they're just the suit, basically.
Mm. Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's not like again, I made fun of it in the beginning of the episode with like the Green Lantern Corps. It kind of reminds me of the same thing with the that they have a uniform, but the uniform like is like tailored to fit whatever species.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like that because it's clear then that they're all part of the same team, even though like okay, one's just like head with arms and legs, one's a gas, one's a living planet. So I kind of like it how they like obviously have a template of the exo suit, and how they then can just kind of like okay, well this creature would then have more focus of these parts of it, or okay, these tentacles would become like this color scheme and like this portion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, just very nice. And it also feels like a nice. I mean, we already knew from Armor Hunters that there were more than one Exo Manowar suit, but what's called? It's just kind of cool seeing this setup here. But you're right; these aren't characters.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not gonna have a spin-off. But I gotta say though, something that has kind of made me wonder a bit, just in terms of the lore of specifically Exo Manowar. I mean, again, space is big. I always concede to that. But it just kind of feels weird sometimes with you have like the Vine, who are supposed to be these conquerors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming based on, from volume 3 of Exo Manowar, when he, goes to the Vine planet and sees all the different like descendants of slaves from all these different species, you'd imagine they had a pretty far reach. It just kind of feels to me sometimes that okay, these obviously people must have been aware of the Vine and things about them, but somehow Divine never found out about more Exo Manowar suits, or other people hearing about it and maybe confronting them, like the Armor Hunters. Did they not think of maybe asking them about it or something? I don't know, guess feels kind of like there's two areas of space there. It's like the Vine part and then this intergalactic, diverse kind of world.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is that like, do you think that would be is like a okay thing or an oversight, or is it me being nitpicky?
I don't know. I guess the universe is huge enough that you. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna go with that. You're being a little bit too nitpicky. But then again, that's what this show is all about.
Yep. Oh man, and what's called? Sorry for what's called bringing politics into this, but what's called? So Manowar predicted Trump. The president's playing golf.
I mean, every president has played golf.
Yeah, I know, but it's a big deal when he does it. I know. I'm just. I couldn't help but be a little. What would the word be? Buffoonish.
No, I think you're just trying to bring something in here that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I think all that is happening is that you're seeing headlines about Trump being on the golf course all the time, and then you saw a president on the golf course, and you're like, oh, that must be related to Trump somehow. Ha ha
Well,
ha.
obviously, it wouldn't. This is way before the election, but
Exactly, but that's what I mean. You're trying to connect something that you don't really know the full information on anyway.
yeah, no, exactly. But still, just kind of amusing. I think. I mean, again,
But
it's
yeah,
not
every
actually
every single president has played golf, and every single president has gotten some sort of weird news while he's on the golf course. So Yeah. This could be any president,
Yeah, no, of course.
except for Obama, because I think you see his white. Nope, you don't see his skin.
Well, they're very purposeful that it could be anyone. No?
Yeah, made sure to give him long socks.
So unless, well, of course, unless Hillary won, then it like because she specifically says Mr. President.
Well, I mean, that's just that's just smart.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up there. I just thought I'd be a little like clever little rascal. So, but then regarding then yes, sort of me being nitpicky and like lore wise and such, because this was kind of, I mean, this whole volume was sort of hinted at the end of the like Exo Manowar Armor Hunter issues, like the backstory.
Oh yeah, where like these things were coming.
Exactly, like I mean, there was a whole thing about they couldn't get any contact with Command anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and then like what happened? What could have what should we do? Should we go back or continue or? So obviously we know what happened. Eventually the exo suits came and like destroyed them all. But and again, I haven't. I think I know why it's set up as it is. But you're pretty good at finding like inconsistencies. So let's see. Because I was wondering at first, why didn't they just use Dead Hand from the beginning? Since it's clear that the exosuits were afraid of them. That's why they like flew off.
Well, maybe because they want to actually kill them and not just make them flee.
Yeah, but still, that would even then though, if they just would have had those robots fly around, then it would have kept things safe in that sense.
Well, no, because they would still be in their minds contaminating worlds. I mean, that would actually make the whole thing worse. I mean, think if you have a diseased animal or something that you're hunting, would you rather find it and kill it? Or would you rather like keep shooting gunshots in the air, making it flee even more, and then spreading its disease even more places?
In that sense, yeah, quarantining them, so to speak. Well, I don't know, just because it comes across more that it's some kind of glitch, which again I usually like when like a story. I always like AI that comes to like the logical conclusion about things, like about its command, even if it sometimes can be a bit cheesy. I mean, you remember iRobot, right? The Will Smith
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the same thing there, kind of. Must keep humanity safe. Humanity is humanity's biggest, security risk. I'll just keep people locked up in their houses. Yeah, which again, like, yeah, okay, that's a nice, commentary on human nature and whatnot. But same thing here. It's kind of this idea of that, the dead hand protocol thing is going on about saying, we go down, we get the like genetic information of everything relevant about the planet, totally purge it of any possible like virus strain, and then we repopulate it. Because it kind of reminds me of that meme with that black guy, like looking very smart, with like the.
Mm-hmm.
So the exosuits can't contaminate life if there is no life. But it just kind of feels like maybe like a compromise version of it. Like maybe having those and the hunters.
I don't know. I mean, the maybe they don't even know that the exosuits are scared of them. I mean, do they ever reference them actually?
Well, the scaredness I only get from the fact that they don't fight them from the beginning,
Right.
as well as then Exo like Auric asking them about it, as they point out that they didn't warn him to stand his ground. It's more like no, we just warned you, so get out of the way.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Is that I think the fear is only on their side. So the others are still constantly, looking for them, thinking that they're hunting when actually the others, I don't know. I mean, I think they would also be acting differently. It would be less, they'd be less loud about it, or like maybe they'd be smaller in that sense that they won't be like a huge, like head flying through space. They would maybe break off so they could find everyone. But I think because they don't realize that they're actually scared of them, if they think that they're just staying in their planets and they can go get them, that's why they keep doing what they're doing. But now they're just they're just going around finding their people, killing everyone off and hoping that at some point they're gonna find them. And all the while, the suits are just hiding away from everyone. I don't think there is like I don't think they know that each other are not. I don't even know what I'm talking about. They're just people are hiding. The others don't know that they're hiding, so they're just going to go through every single planet in the universe and try to kill everyone. That's what they think.
All right. Yeah, no, I guess that fits. Again, not that it's a plot hole or anything. It's just, yeah. Though I gotta say too, I never got that impression or understanding either here, because they make a big deal about the exosuits that they are nigh invulnerable, and the only way is with those spears because they were made of like the tree that they grew from.
Mm-hmm.
But I never get the impression that all these robots have anything of that. Again, I'm not trying to Robert Venditti, answer every single question. But just when you make a big deal about the invulnerability of them, it just kind of feels like that would be a point to have there, that either they have the same weaponry or something else that kind of bypasses their defenses.
Well, did anyone ever get injured?
Well, no, well, true, but then why would they have been scared?
Well, maybe it was just a fear tactic.
Maybe.
I mean, did they ever get killed? I mean, obviously, here's the thing: like, if they're masters, those the actual armor hunters that they fought with the spears were able to kill them, and then suddenly there's this huge army coming after them, also from that same planet or from that same race or whatever. Then it would be easy to assume that they are from the same. They probably also have some weapons that can kill us. So rather than wait and see, they decide to just run.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you're right in that sense. It's just the whole self-preservation of the suits. Well, then Arik, of course, being the warrior and being in control of his suit,
Right.
will take it as a call to arms. All right. Let's see. Oh, yes, wanted to have a little, a little teeny little thing here. I really like this one thing here. It's one a few times like something from my early childhood is referenced in a work of fiction. On page 113. So when you get kind of a little montage of all these like observatories around the world, so in universities.
Oh, yeah. I thought about that too.
And I looked it up just to make sure. And the thing is that there were more. Oh, actually, I'm noticing now. An explanation for our listeners. I used to live on the Canary Islands, which they reference on the second panel of page 113. And my dad worked at one of the telescopes in that location, Roque de los Muchachos. But I looked it up to make sure so I didn't, talk out of my ass. And there are more telescopes than the one my dad worked on in that region. Like I saw a picture of like all of them, yes, kind of like next to each other almost. So not necessarily where my dad worked. But still, I gotta thank you, Robert Venditti, for remembering that there is such a thing as an observatory in the Canary Islands.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he Googled,
I'm sure.
observatories from around the world instead of observatory where Humphrey's dad worked at for a while.
No, I'm pretty sure he was thinking, he somehow knew about me earlier.
Yeah,
and I guess I did have, well, not saying I have an internet presence, like capital P. No, but I had a portfolio and stuff on there, so I guess he found me and wanted to like do something, and he was too shy to contact me, so he just wanted to like show some kind of appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
No, of course not. But still, just a little on a personal level there. I thought it was kind of neat. The one thing I want to mention too, though, I guess I was scrolling through here and after that page, and right on the next page, 114. I love little things like this that don't serve like any narrative purpose, but are just kind of an interesting character thing. Capshaw's dog.
Oh yeah.
There's just I don't know. I mean, you could you could like Photoshop that dog out of that whole page, and nothing's changed.
Right.
But it immediately, it shows she's a dog person, which immediately brings up a lot of traits about her. And there's just something. It's kind of like that thing you've always talked about, the Pope in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a very mild version of it. They're like it's not like a huge action scene where they're going through exposition. It's just, oh, it's a puppy. Well, probably not a puppy, but
Well, every dog is a puppy.
that's true. But yeah, has the whole like dog going in there and just slurping and just being all friendly. We just, I don't know. I just like it when you give that extra little humanity and texture to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, sure, again, it could have worked well. We wouldn't have thought about it. Heck, I'm sure a lot of people don't think too much on that page. But there's just something very nice about it. Like, I just felt more fulfilled. So, again, I don't know if that's Venditti, who was very insistent of having the dog in that scene, or if it's the artist who took not like a liberty in that sense, but I don't know. I really like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not something that hurts it, and who knows, maybe it's a setup for something that's coming in the future.
Oh God, it's the dog all along. Oh no, wait, you haven't seen that Simpsons episode, I guess.
No, of course not.
That's just an old one when he's trying to write a script with Mel Gibson. Like, I don't know, what do you mean about changing the villain to be a dog? No one will understand what's going on. Oh no, we just zoom in on the face of the dog and make him go like this. And he like, shifts his eyes back and forth. That'll make him suspicious. That's just fun. A part of me kind of wonders if they should try to get like, because Exo Manowar's kind of a versatile character in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's on like for earthly missions and space missions, and you get the historical bent of him as well with flashbacks. I'm curious sometimes if like maybe he has like a little too much stuff on his plate in terms of like in a narrative sense. Do you think like Valiant could do with like a pure space character?
You mean like Divinity?
Well, yeah, I guess in that sense, but he still comes like back to Earth in that sense. I mean, more like if we're to use other like examples, obviously Green Lantern, is Earth based in that sense, but maybe something like Guardians of the Galaxy in a sense of here we are in space and we stay in space. Again, it's not like it's a bad thing or anything. I really like Exo Manowar and his space adventures, but I guess he just kind of feels like he's got his fingers in too many pies. Is that a term?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a
Well, there's too many cooks and cooks for one pot or something. I don't know.
I don't know, an expression that fits my feelings about.
Yeah.
So we don't have a saying about that in this dimension.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what would suit it in that sense. I mean, it's just it's hard to kind of say like what would work for a company that you're not working for.
Mm.
I mean, like who are we to say? Obviously, they could probably pull off an only space character, but in that sense, what would be the point? Because if you want to have a shared universe with all these people coming together, then I think you would profit more off of that you would have everyone together. I mean, they had the chance to do something like that with Divinity, but they decided not to. They decided to bring him back to Earth because, again, they wanted to have. I mean, I still believe that they want to continue that that sentiment of outside is the world outside your window.
Mm.
So obviously it would be kind of weird to be like, okay, now let's have a character in space far away from all of us. I mean, they're already stretching that idea anyway with all the stuff that's going on. So yeah,
No, but you're
I think
right.
that's why they want to stay close to Earth.
No, but you're right. And I realize now I was advocating for the thing I hate the most with the MCU. The Guardians of the Galaxy, because they have like no involvement so far with the other movies.
Yeah,
Which again, they're fine movies on their own, but if they're supposed to be shared, then what's the point? So yeah, that was being hypocritical. Very rare for me.
not that rare.
Yeah, I was being facetious.
Yeah, I know.
So no, but it's I don't know, just kind of well, I guess that's part of it's the whole like armor hunters backstory. Because again, that was we discussed that a bit when we read it. That's like its own like little world now. It was like very little reference to like the Earth Valiant, so to speak. Especially whenever you have that whole like Star Wars kind of space. With just all these aliens hanging around. Just kind of like, oh wow, like there's all the rules are out of the what's called all the rules are off the table now.
Yeah.
Again, not that that's bad or anything, but it's like, okay, well, now it's whatever they want. Like, is there like a huge galactic federation? Is it like the Wild West out there? What's the level of technology? Well, everything that derives from Earth has to have some kind of. I think it's always tricky with that whole plausible explanation, at least based on what's already like present. I gotta say though, in terms of like drama, I really love the destruction of the Loam, or however you pronounce it. I mean, again, they're all for them almost well, not faceless, but like generic clone-looking aliens.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But even so, I do feel like the stakes. I felt the stakes and the sacrifice involved in there. Like it really felt like, damn. I mean, even like when some things were just told through words, just like, is this all? So we were on the night side of the planet. The ones the ones in this during the daytime were destroyed immediately.
Mm,
So like,
yeah.
oh god, half the planet was already just destroyed like that. And even then, like on page 86, after escaping, we still see like one dying, like one exploding on its way out. And yes, the whole thing of like what's called Arik hugging that one alien, like that one vine.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's we barely knew her. It's not
No, but still a powerful image.
it is, but also kind of at the same time, just shows off the strength of the suit too. He managed to survive thanks to its power, or just something about hugging, some sense of like oh, and then just skeleton. Again, just it just works. Well done, like well written, well drawn, just everything. And I gotta say, considering how young the Valiant universe is, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
now is let's see, 5 years old, I'd say this is like one of their strongest moments. If we were to have like a list of strongest Valiant moments, but that's
Okay.
me.
I mean, I can't really make that assessment because I don't really remember a lot of the stuff anyway.
I know, but still, that's just personally I felt kind of like it because the way it was told. Because compared to as you mentioned about him like rallying the Exos,
Mm-hmm.
that felt a little bit too quick. That was just too like, you know, we won't. Yes, you will. Okay. But here I felt the pacing worked well in terms of the splitting up of the issues. Because it just, like reading it, like it felt, I mean, imagining reading it as it came out monthly, you get the whole, on page 63 and 60, well, 64, you get the whole like, oh, it's going to attack, it's going to blast the planet. I'm sure Arik will fix it somehow. Maybe he'll use his
Mm-hmm.
suit to sort of like divert the beam or something. And then like, nope. He doesn't succeed. He only has time to travel back down to the planet and tell them that, sorry guys, can't do anything. And yeah, no, just I don't know. I guess I really like this volume in general because, as you said, it is generic in terms of like the threat and that stuff. You know, like oh, we've had the alien invasions before, but it just felt very superhero-y. It just felt, here's a threat, let's try to beat it.
Mm.
And I think sometimes I just want that. Like obviously I get tired of it if that was like the formula every time. But there's a reason we're reading superhero comics and not specifically sci-fi comics or anything else. And I think that's part of the thing. We want to have the heroes fight something and eventually win, but
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like this win was also a little bit too quick.
for being like a whole invasion, you mean?
Well, I mean, I know obviously they didn't completely win because he was still alive, kind of, but I don't know. I just feel like it was just too quick. It was all this whole like, all right, let me get into the middle, and then like, all right, I destroyed the beam that's going to hit the sun. Oh, now it's self-destructing. It just felt like it was. It felt like he could have done it alone. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like it doesn't feel like there was anything that he would have had to have a team with. I mean, I guess the only thing that the team helped him was to distract some of the enemies, you know. But it didn't feel like the other characters had any time to really do something that really impacted the whole thing. And it kind of felt like he was just like rushing, like he just had to rush in, shoot the thing, shoot the other thing, and then it's like, all right, now we're going to self destruct.
yeah, no, I agree with that.
I mean, it's kind of like the Death Star without all the build up to the Death Star.
Mm,
You know, it was just in, shot, out. And I just always feel like it's so weird to have this huge planetoid thing that's coming at you and you can defeat it with one shot. You know, like the shot, I mean, again, like with the whole Star Wars thing, it's kind of okay. I mean, it's kind of not that great, but it's also okay. The fact that they had the plans, like they knew where the weak spot was and they had to go attack it, and it wasn't even like easy to go attack it.
mm. Yeah, they
But this
failed the
just
first
felt,
couple of times.
yeah. But this one just failed. This just felt so easy somehow, the attack. And I mean, as I said, I know that he's not dead, like he's still alive on Mars, but it just feels like, yeah. I mean, looking at it right now, they just rush in. You know, the exosuits are having like literally no problem. They go in and then they destroy the
Mm,
they just destroyed the weapon. I mean, that's what's so weird is they destroy the weapon and then it detonates.
mm.
Like it's just like what? Why? How? I don't know. I just feel like that it was just too quick. I mean, I know that they were trying to wrap up the entire. They're just trying to wrap it all up, but still.
No, I see what you mean, and I guess that is kind of a tricky thing with. I guess that is a tricky thing with stories like these in terms of the amount like given in terms of page count and issues, as well as in writing for the trade books. Because you want to tell a big epic story, but how do you pace it then so it like feels right about everything? Because I don't know, I've been reading some more manga recently on Crunchyroll and stuff, and yes, like not in terms of like for academic purposes, but yes, reading, and it is interesting seeing like the way they quote unquote drag out an event there compared to like a superhero comic. Because I feel there it's more about there's always like a bigger threat, so to speak, or like a bigger goal in mind. That's always kind of like on the horizon. And then what's going on, like, but it's like the immediate dangers and stakes that are like what matters at the moment, of course. Like if we take something like, don't worry, I won't like spoil anything that's passed from the anime, but like with Attack on Titan, it's clear that there's a bigger thing going on in terms of like where those like the colossal titan and all those special titans where they came from and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the end, the key thing is like the immediate stuff going on as well with the normal sort of titans and oh, we gotta try to block up that hole in the wall and we gotta do these things and that stuff. And so I think sometimes that's the thing with that. I feel it's how to describe it, like they'll have a whole thing, like they'll have like a whole like adversity of some sort, manage to beat it, and that like feels like good, like you finish the volume and it's like good, they managed to defeat that one boss or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we know that it's just a battle of a war. But with superhero comics, even if they put like a hint at something, like here at the end showing that Dead Hand isn't completely gone, for the most part though we get the feeling now that everything's fine until something new comes up. And I think that might be the thing, if there was always sort of something in the background, like very obvious or knowledgeable to the characters, then that kind of can help pace things out in general or something. I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying, or am I just rambling?
I kind of get what you're saying, but I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Yeah, I could hear myself also kind of like, I have a point, but it's not coming out. So, but either way, so I had a good time. I had a good time reading this.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, I didn't have a bad time. It wasn't like the last one, but I mean, it was just very typical. It wasn't anything. It wasn't. If we only did um, if we only did comics on the ones, like if we only did podcasts on the episodes where we think we would have a lot to talk about, I don't think we would talk about this one.
Mm. So then that includes the ones you don't like, because you had a lot to talk about them.
Well, I mean, we would talk about those because we have a lot to talk about. Yeah.
So I guess we'll only otherwise talk about the ones you hate and Rye and Eternal Warrior.
Exactly.
Well, there'll be some new characters coming up soon enough, so we'll see what you think of those. All right. I mean, well, here's just one little question. Did you read the Book of Death stuff at the end?
Let me check. No, I did not.
Okay. I guess an interview with the writer.
Yeah.
So, like, hyping
Whatever.
up. Yeah, no, again, like, just thought I'd ask, because sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess back when I was interested in reading what the writers had to say, but I guess not anymore. I don't really care.
Yeah, but still, it's always interesting.
I'd rather just read the Book of Death when it comes out.
Yeah, it's going to be a few weeks more. At least based on my schedule as I've set it up. Oh, well then. Yeah, I guess that as a potential note to talk about. But again, we don't have to force an hour out of this. We don't
Are
have
we
more
not
to
at an hour?
discuss.
What are we at? Yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah, I guess that's long enough than what we had to talk about. Because I was reading it and it's like, yeah, this is fine, but there's nothing to talk about. It's just like it's a very typical comic. It's just this is the typical thing that I would expect to read from all the Batman and Green Lantern, especially kind of comics.
Oh yeah, which is also interesting since the same writer. I'm not sure if he's still working on Green Lantern or if he worked on Green Lantern before he did this. So, but I'm curious if Exo Manowar is kind of like where all the ideas he didn't get to use in Green Lantern pops up in here.
Hmm.
Either way. Robert Venditti, I feel he's kind of like the backbone of the Valiant universe in terms of writer. Well, him and Matt Kint and Joshua Desart as well. But either way, guess we'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the 56th episode of Heartcast, detailing Exo Manowar Volume 9. You can discuss this episode on Reddit, tweet us, or you can follow us on Facebook. Links are in the show notes. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Catch us next time for our next episode discussing Bloodshot Reborn, Volume 1, Colorado.